So I want to say thank you. What got me here? I went through a divorce in in 2007. I've been divorced about 8 years now. So when you approached me and we talked about this topic where it says life after divorce, empty nester, life interruption, career changes, well, I was like, well, shoot, I ain't had I live. And so I was like, okay, Lord, yeah, I will speak. So really, the ironic part about it is I became I was my husband and I separated, and my youngest son went off to college within 3 months of each other.
Mm.
So I was on the verge of being divorced and an empty nester at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So that was very difficult for me. So that's how I got to that juncture in my life.
Okay, okay. So you had a double whammy,
A double whammy.
a double whammy,
A
and
double
and,
whammy.
and as you were speaking, I was thinking about, man, because so much of our lives, and I think that's why we always connect. So much of our lives are so connected in so many ways, and I found myself several years after your experience, never thinking I would go have to deal with that. Because when you get married, you're always looking hopeful. You're always believing for the best. But then sometimes you have to face the reality that
Right.
no matter how much you try, it just it's not going. They're good people, but that doesn't mean we're good for marriage. And
Right.
so in that decision, I found myself. Hey, Lachelle, thank you for joining. I found myself in that same situation, and I had just experienced the emptiness because right before that, I think maybe a year and a half before that, my daughter had she left the house to go and now live her life, and when my son had gone, maybe at that time 4 or 5 years earlier, I experienced it, but it wasn't as hard because I still had somebody home to take care of,
Yeah.
and, that child to take care of and look after. And then, but she left. I did take it hard as an empty nester. It did hit me kind of hard. I didn't expect it because I had talked about it all my life, like all their teenage life. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, guess what? It hit a little bit differently when that
Yeah.
last one leaves.
Yeah.
Then I dealt with that, and unfortunately, divorce, separation, and having to make a serious decision for my mother because of her health, and so all these things were hitting, and they were all overwhelming all at once, and you do feel like your world is collapsing around you because everything that had been your life is now is going in different directions, and there's nothing you can do to hold it together. You're no longer that glue. Because as mothers, sometimes we're the glue in the family. As women, we're the glue in the family. Well, guess what? That glue is falling apart. It's no longer sticking anymore.
Hmm.
So,
I was just the opposite of you all because I when I experienced divorce, my all my children were school age, and I mean elementary school age, and so I experienced I had to be mom, dad, everything to them, and grow them up through the years as a single parent. And so, so when as they grew and went out, my empty nest is like I didn't think I was gonna ever experience empty nesting
mm,
because they would go and come back, go and come back. And so then when I did finally experience empty nesting, it was like as being an empty nester, it was like, how do I feel about this? How
mm-hmm,
do I feel about, all of them being gone because I was so used to them going and coming back and going and coming back. And then when they finally all had their own lives and their own families and they were no longer coming back, I had to truly look at the fact that I was an empty nester. And it's like, And by that time I got remarried and I truly didn't have anyone but myself and my husband. And I was like, but then I realized I might like it.
Girl, let me tell you.
I might like this.
Yeah, it might be. This is
Let me sip my
yeah.
coffee. I might like this.
Baby, let me tell you. Yes,
We
ma'am,
gotta get a
Angela.
husband. I might like it too.
I might like this. I was like, I might like this.
See, that's what we try to tell y'all. It's life after this. There is life after being an empty nester.
Yes.
It's life after divorce. And many times you do, because I was thinking about, even though we made the decision to divorce, there was still a grieving that I didn't realize would be a part of this, because after 12 years of marriage, now I have to untangle so much of myself that was tangled and entwined together. Because unless you are married to someone and every part of your life is separate, then I don't know if you have a real marriage, but your visions, your goals, a lot of your goals, you're looking at what are we going to build together. Our retirement, how would their retirement be together? You're sitting down with your mate, with your spouse, and you're talking about a lot of things together. Yes, you may have individual goals, but you should be having goals with your spouse. The majority of your life, I would think, I'm envisioning that with my spouse. And then to now be age 50, and now I got to reimagine this next half of my life that I had already for 12 years envisioned with this person. So that takes you for a blow, or it took me for a blow, where now I'm having to grieve a lot of history. Like this was history we made together. We were doing 12 years of life together, and now and then when you get online, say if you're online, Lord, please don't listen to a lot of this red pill advice and all that stuff, and this new age of relationship advice. Please, Jesus. Every black man ain't out to get you. Every man ain't out to get you. Every woman ain't out for you to take them to a high-end restaurant. Many of us can take ourselves to high-end restaurant. It's just crazy out here in these streets. If you just listen to all the craziness and the advice. But many times people will just say, just leave. Just leave them. Oh, when you still got to go through a process, even when you just leave.
Right.
Unless y'all just lived under a rock separate from each other the whole time y'all was together.
Right.
And then if you have a marriage, not just a relationship, but you have a marriage, that just leave is not as easy, because you have a family intact, not just a marriage, but your family. So I do understand when women are not able to just get over it, because many times that's the best advice people can give. Girl, you got to get over it. You got to move on. Well, I still got to think about some stuff, that a lot of things were just my goals, my dreams, everything that we done talked about, walked out. Now I got to remap all this stuff. I got to re-envision all this stuff. So what do we say to that woman? That, not just that woman, to that man, because men have the same thing. There's some men, they're not just want to throw away their entire marriage or family. They're struggling with divorce as well. But many times we just have the female face as the one that's struggling. But that divorcee, what will we tell them?
I was going to say something real quick, Sonjanita, before you get started. And one of the things that people don't understand and realize, I just want to piggyback on what Angela was saying, is that just because the marriage isn't working and a relationship isn't working, people don't realize just because we divorce doesn't mean I don't love that person. And so I'm still struggling in the fact that it's not that I don't love that person. It just means that the relationship is not working. So I still need to work out some stuff within myself, because I love that person. I wasn't with them all that time and not loving them. I still love them. So I still need to work out some stuff within myself.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Sonjanita, for cutting you off.
No. Go ahead. To answer your question, I call it how to unpack your bags. how to unpack your bags.
How to
And
unpack your bag.
and so just think about this. When you go on vacation and you come home, you may have, well, if you're like me, you might have 3 suitcases, but just for
Just
for
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 2 days too.
Me
just
too,
Just
girl.
for
Me
2 days,
too.
yeah. So
Me
let's
too,
just say
girl.
you
Me
have
too.
2 bags.
Angela,
Me,
Sonjanita.
me too. Me too, child. Me too, child.
So say you have these 2 or 3 bags. When you come home, you unpack them. You unpack the pants. And, if you have, like, if you're like me, I always take more than I need.
Every time.
So you're gonna take the dirty and soiled clothes, and you know where to put those in the basket to be washed. But then you have things in there, such as some shirts you did not wear, some underwear or bras you did not wear, pants you did not wear, your makeup, you take that out, your curling iron, if you have one of those, I carry a speaker because if I'm in a hotel room, sometimes I like to listen to music. So you have different things that you unpack. And when you unpack those things, when you unpack them, you put them in their rightful place.
Mm.
It's the same when you are going through a divorce or empty nesting. Let's talk about divorce. When you come home and there is no one, and I lived this where in May my marriage fell apart. In August, my son left for college. So in May, I had to try to unpack the marriage.
Mm.
We have different categories where did this go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What was right? Do I need to try to make it better? Do I need
Mhm.
to go back? Don't I need to go back? You have to unpack your
Yes.
thought
Mm-hmm.
process.
Mm-hmm.
You're unpacking your bags. And then on top of that, 3 months later, while I'm still trying to unpack and get my son ready to go off to college, and ladies, he did not go to college in Louisiana. He went to college all the way in Missouri.
Yeah.
So it's
Well,
not like he went up the street to Grambling or he went up the street to Tulane or he went up the street where I could just drive and go check on my baby. He was all the way in Missouri.
yeah.
So top of while I'm still trying to unpack the divorce baggage, now I got to try to unpack the empty nester baggage on
Mm-hmm.
top. So now I'm like, I'm flying my son out to Missouri, rent a car, go shopping for his dorm. And on the way back on that plane, I cried all the way home
Mm.
because I'm thinking about when I open that door, there will be nobody there.
Mm.
And when
Wow.
I got home, my house felt like it was doing this from all sides,
Closing
just
in.
closing in. Because I got here and I stood and I just looked around and I just cried. So you have your baggage you have to unpack in every situation. Divorce, empty nester, we got life interruptions and career changes because sometimes those career changes are not voluntary.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
With me, I didn't have a career change, but I changed jobs during that time. So my transition in that area was a little different than if you got fired or if they downsized or but my life interruptions during that time, my mother got ill.
Mm.
So I had to deal with that. And my mother lives 4 hours away from me. So